Welcome back to the Bunnycast. This is indeed part 2. Today we are discussing E3 and some of the stuff that came up there. Team Fortress 2 is now free. We talk about that. Also, we review a fanfic, a book, and a game that everybody was waiting 15 years for. You probably know which one it is. Join us today on the Bunnycast, starting now. This is the Bunnycast Network.
Our old photos stop being all wrinkled and back to perfect condition. Ha-ha.
Hey, you know what? My mom is co-host of a podcast.
You win this time.
He did.
Yes, that should wear out in about 3 hours or so. If you come back to me, I'll prescribe something else for you to take. Hopefully, you should be much more mellow by then.
Alright, I am...
To be fair, he's not approaching grace levels yet, so...
I am Dave Helen, the LeatherClad. We have Squato, of course. And we've joining us, Professor B.T. Smithy.
Greetings and salutations. It's Smythe, but people keep getting my name wrong anyway, and I really hate them.
We are the Bunnycast. Stop asking questions, Dash! I really should not have eaten that second pie. Okay.
Yes. This is all going according to my cleverly worked out plans.
Let's go on.
Cleverly? What the hell's a cloverleaf?
It's related to a clover leaf. Moving on to E3. I really am on a freaking sugar high. Moving on to E3. Discussion. Microsoft committed themselves once again to creating the world's best Halo game platform.
With the Space China in it as well.
Yes. For those of you who don't know what we're talking about, if you look up the E3 trailers for Halo 4, surprise, surprise, and
actually the fans are going, that's not Halo 4, that's actually going to be a Halo 8 when it ultimately comes out, because they're redoing Halo 1. So, which would have been Halo 7 is now Halo 8.
So actually that's the title I'm looking forward to, and they're very clearly using the Reach engine for it because they've got assassinations.
I'm still kind of stuck with the first game. I haven't finished it yet.
That's okay. You won't have missed too much because you can buy it all over again. Yay! I get to spend $50 on a game I spent $50 for 3.5 years ago.
It's going to be $120 in Australia because Australia, who cares about us?
Back away from the Australians. This is going to be a meme. I'm going to make it a meme.
That sounds like something that RoboCop would say. Back away from the Australians.
I'll buy that for $1.
Oh man, that is some old school references right there. Oh, okay, so also at E3, Nintendo announced yet another thing that has one of the worst names in the history of all video gamedom, the Wii U.
Oh, they weren't going to go with the Wang.
No, there's a whole bunch of other names people like. They could have done this better, but they've gone with the Wii U. And I love the reaction to it. It went from, oh my god, this is the best thing ever. This is so one E3. The next day, this sucks. Seriously, well, there are so many questions. And then after about a week or so, it's like, you know what? This isn't so bad. But Nintendo failed because they didn't they didn't fail like, say, Microsoft did. But where they made the mistake is that they basically went, here's the controller. They showed off some games, no details of the console. In fact, they barely even pointed out the console. They didn't actually show what the details of this can do. What it's made from, what its price point's going to be, when it's going to come out. And the thing that really surprised people is the fact that the big controller that they've got for it, which is the one that's kind of like an iPad. I say kind of because it's going to be completely different. It's sort of Nintendo mindset. As nice as it looks and feels and sounds and all that, apparently you can only use one per system.
Yeah, my understanding of the Wii U is it's more the controller than the console, and the console is literally just an updated version of what we got now.
So it's
just
sort
more
of like,
powerful.
Yeah.
We're not going to show you what it looks like, but look what it can do! Isn't it pretty? Look at what it can do! Ooh, I'm shoving it in your face! Ooh, look what it can do! You can't have it.
Well, someone made the cynical point, and I reckon this is true, which is that they're focusing on the controller because when it comes up to people in the press, when they go, and by that I mean you watch any type of general news story, which is, here we go, we've got our person that's our tech person, and by that you just, every time you see this person come on TV, your head, you do a double face palm because you're like, oh, please make this person stop because they're such an idiot from whenever they're talking about anything with technology.
You know,
and they're just doing
of the time, people who are technological experts are actually just idiots who are wearing lab coats all the time.
Well, because I had one that did this great example. The guy's like, oh, for your Wii, there's going to be a brand new controller coming out to it that can do all this stuff, and it's going to be amazing and good. And this is going to be the thing to really make your controller the thing to play with. And it's like, what are they already doing to Wii? And the thing is,
that was an unfortunate phrase.
That's going to make your Wii the thing to play with. Nice.
And yeah, this is the person pointing out.
And cut! Brilliant! That's a wrap. That's our show, everybody.
But no, yeah, seriously, those type of ones, they're just like, oh yeah, it's a controller. So parents would think, oh yeah, this goes to I like this person because they give me ideas about technology, which I'm interested in. But I'm obviously someone that doesn't give a shit about learning technology myself, other than saying what some person that's a face but look, someone that has a good face and maybe some boobs, knows more about technology than me. So when they say it's going to be controller, obviously it's going to be controller. Wait, 2 years later, there's a system with it? Yeah. Oh, why didn't they tell me about that?
Yeah.
But then again, I also think that the system itself is not going to be coming... When I reckon it's going to come out, it's not this year. If it comes out, it's probably going to be towards the end of next year. So December-ish 2012, maybe even 2013.
Yeah. I have a feeling...
waiting for the mind controllers. The ones which you control the power of your mind. Because they actually have developed some stuff like that, I believe.
Yeah, they developed them in the 80s. They sucked.
Yeah, they're working on it. Anyways, I have a feeling that the Wii U is the first overture in what we're going to see as the next generation consoles. And the reason I think that is because, A, it's definitely going to be the next version of the Wii, and B, the other console makers are starting to make rumblings that they are also going to be releasing something as well, which they're going to have to because the current generation has been around for a while, and Microsoft's Xbox is going to have its lunch handed to it if it doesn't update the capabilities, because the PC is really
it's making too many big strides. Yeah, this generation, it depends on where their mindset, because Microsoft kind of wanted to sell into the thing of, oh look, we've got the 360 out, we released this in 2005, it's going to be great for years. In fact, it seems to be hinted that they didn't actually want to bring out a new console to 2015, so they probably might be wanting to push that a lot sooner now that Nintendo's really shaken up the marketplace. And then you've got then you got Sony, because Sony's attitude was this. Well, they actually stated when they released the PlayStation 3 that when it came out, their plan was it was a 15-year plan for this console. And
Yeah, I mean, the thing about all of Sony's consoles, at least since the PS2, is that really the dang things are designed to last years, but Sony never really... it was a completely proprietary system. There's literally nothing like the PS2 that you can program on except another PS2. Same thing with the PS3. It's a totally unique system, and the computational power is beyond what most people can even think of what a computer can do. And this is a freaking set-top box. And the problem is all the game developers, they're not in the mindset of this unique system. Even the PlayStation's own people aren't really grasping what this thing can do and how to program for it. So consequently, they're cycling in these ever more powerful systems that are capable of doing just ridiculous God-intensive levels of stuff. I mean, this is the whole reason why a bunch of PS2s were networked together to form a supercomputer for the Air Force. These things are bloody powerful, but nobody takes advantage of it. So consequently, when the PS2 or the PS3 or the PS11 or whatever console generation we're looking at is 3, 4, 5 years old, everybody's looking at it and saying, boy, it hasn't updated in years. I bet they're really falling behind the curve. When the fact of the matter is everything that Microsoft and Nintendo are releasing for the next generation game console still doesn't touch what even the PS2 is capable of. The Xbox 360 is a micro machine compared to the PS2.
Yeah, which is a great example of that. Is look at the Wii. That, as people pointed out, it's really just working on the architecture of the GameCube.
Exactly.
In fact, the controller for it was actually they were working on that at least 6 months before the release of the GameCube, and they were like, well, this is going to take too long to development. In fact, what's the game? The first Rogue Squadron 2. That actually was designed with motion controllers, and by that I mean the Wii type of controller in its mindset, but they couldn't get anything out in time. So then they went, well, we'll release it for the next... we'll make this a whole console based off this after a few years.
It makes so much sense now. Jeez.
I believe that the British Army actually uses Xbox 360 controllers to fly their spy drones.
Yeah, I mean, go with what you know. It's better.
Yeah, a lot of people do that. Yeah.
Oh, it's better than developing a whole freaking new interface and having to go through 6 months of training time just to get people up to speed when they've been playing flight sims at home on their Xboxes for years. And you plant an Xbox 360 control in their hand, and you say, this is acceleration, this is deceleration, this fires weapon A, this fires weapon B, this drops your bomb, go for it, have fun, and say, this is your goal. And they think it's an achievement. Of course it's going to work that way.
Well, we know that surgeons have already been using the Wii for years to train with, and the reason for that is because the Wii is actually the best system. They've actually done the test. The Wii is the best system for surgeons that want to actually practice before they do an operation. It's the best one to get their hands into that sort of feeling of more delicate, slow, slight movements.
Training body memory, yeah, exactly. I mean, that's where motion controllers excel, and that's why the Kinect is far superior than the Sony PlayStation Move or the Wii controller, because you can do your whole freaking body. I mean, I'm learning how to do what's the discipline? You move your body really slowly and you hold it in certain positions. It's not yoga. It's
Taekwondo.
It's a martial art. I'm learning this from a game that's able to tell me if I'm in the correct position or not because of the 3-4 cameras built into the Kinect,
and they give a 3D optical view of the things.
Yeah, exactly. And I'm not perfect on it yet, but by now I'm scoring in the 80 to 90 percentile, just because it's able to say you're not doing this right, and you need to correct here. I mean, that's the replication of the expert on a massive scale. I wouldn't be able to afford this kind of training otherwise.
Yeah, although I know people are going to go, oh, you're saying things about the Kinect. You must like it because the Kinect sucks, because look at E3. No. The Microsoft conference was just bad. Everyone knows that was bad. It failed in so many things, and it was because Microsoft really did bad choices with the ones that they picked for it.
Microsoft generally did not make a lot of good decisions. I mean, they had some good developers come up and give presentations. I showed the Modern Warfare 3 gameplay demo to my wife, and she thought we were watching a movie at first.
Well, the thing is I feel that was not the best one they should have gone to show off the game. It's a good one to do to get, like, it's showing off things, but it's not one that's really getting people into, oh, this is going to be Modern Warfare. It's like, this could be, as you said, it could be a movie. It's not, this is distinctly Modern Warfare, because Modern Warfare, as stupid as it is, because it's really the Transformers of the gaming world, it has a
Michael Bay! Explosions! Sorry, I have no idea what came over me there. Having a Michael Bay flashback.
Go on, Squato.
It has a very distinctive visual image and style to it. You look at that, you go, oh, that is that game series. That is the Modern Warfare series. Whereas, if the one they just showed, it didn't feel like that, particularly because what's the biggest problem that a lot of game companies did this year? Well, you've got a shooting type. Well, a lot of the first-person shooters this year, what the three things they did was, A, they showed people going on boats and things like that. 2, they were using team-based equipment, team-based fighting styles. Someone would go into one area while the next person would hold back and be basically taking point. And 3, so many of them were showing in battles taking place in New York City that you're looking at going, is this Modern Warfare 3 or is this some other game? Because it's not really drawing itself out of the crowd at the moment with that what they showed.
Well, yeah. Well, see, first off, it takes a lot to get me into a modern combat game. And I have to admit that the 11 minutes into the future stance that they took, where it was not a secret covert operation operating in the depths of the Middle East in Afghanistan or Pakistan or insert country Herein, is
Turkestan.
Exactly. Is operating under the auspices of the president and the president alone under a need-to-know basis in order to take out such and such a terrorist cell that's really an operating arm of the KGB, which never really fully dismantled its old It's like, okay, shut up. Just point me at a freaking target. And Modern Warfare 3 does that. It's like, okay, you've got sides, you've got combat, you've got guns, you've got big weapons, you've got vehicles, you've got these huge epic battles that take place over literally dozens, if not hundreds of miles of terrain, and this thing just looks freaking epic. I mean, for those of you who have not seen that Modern Warfare gameplay demo, it shows you taking over a sub, a Russian sub, using the Russian launch codes to launch Russian missiles at Russian ships in New York Harbor. That's effing cool, especially
but it's in New York City. That's the thing. That's the combo breaker. Was it's in New York City because you were going. It's Russian submarines using Russian missiles at Russian ships, and it's the Russians attacking.
Yeah.
And the combo breaker is it's New York City.
What's so wrong about that? I mean, you're losing
because
me a little
it's
bit.
Russia, America.
It's countries at war.
Combo breaker.
And the idea is that, okay, I don't care. Bring this back to the problem I have with like Modern Warfare 2, where it's you're in X foreign country, Istan or whatever, and you have to do some mission over there.
You have that really stupid nuclear missile thing that happens where they had the EMP pulse, and I say it's really stupid because they have the bit. I think this is what made me feel this is all stupid was the fact that they had an nuclear device detonated. 63 miles above the surface of the planet Earth, and it was able to destroy the international the space station. It was able to destroy the space station, which was apparently 430 kilometers above the surface of the planet Earth, and on the opposite side of the North American continent. The shockwave from that nuke was apparently powerful enough to destroy it. Not even the Empire. Yeah, not even the Empire.
Space.
Yes, not even the
Science.
Empire.
Oh, Squato, we get your point.
Yeah, not even the destructions of Death Star was that powerful.
Okay, so in any case, it was visceral. It looked good. I liked it a lot. Now, that was a developer demoing something. They had BioWare come out and demonstrate the next Mass Effect game using voice commands for the decision tree as opposed to using the controller. That was
Which
cool.
was stupid.
No, that was cool.
It was interesting, but where it sort of feels stupid is it's basically you're saying something and then it does the same thing, and it's like, oh, this is a Connect exclusive, you can't get this anywhere else. It's like, well, yeah, because no other device in the world possibly uses a setup where you got something which allows people to communicate with what's going on.
And playing the part of the negative Nancy anti-Connect gamer is Squato. Thank you, Squato.
No, I'm just going on about with Microsoft's thing about how this is unique. It's like, yeah, because no one's got a mic or a headset type thing, which they can maybe communicate with what's going on.
And that was Microsoft doing that.
Unfortunately, voice recognition software has a slight problem with accents. So, so if I was to talk into that, they wouldn't know what I was going on about.
And the other thing that's going to be fun with that game, because they said they wanted to set up so that people could have it play together and you have a communication thing. Where I feel it's going to be hilariously funny is the fact that you can have like a group of people and it's like, you can have one person be playing it and then someone else could be in the back, another room, and they'll suddenly yell out something and it basically fucks up your game.
That's actually true.
Then you've got shooting mechanics for the game, which is hilariously bad.
We're talking about Mass Effect 3, right?
It was one of the other games. It was either Mass Effect or it was something else. They had the mechanics for the shooting is basically you have Mass Effect and
Mass Effect the combat was still controller controlled.
Okay, yeah. No, I'm thinking Ghost Recon, which Ghost Recon's shooting mechanic is you have one hand out and the other hand just sort of does a star, bang bang.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing: the combat mechanic of that interface was terrible, but you want to talk about. Excuse me, heartburn surging. You want to talk about fantastic, I mean absolutely gorgeous user interface design based on a gesture controlled interface.
Sorry, you're just imagining what gestures you would use in that thing now. Flip somebody the bird and an atomic explosion goes off.
I imagine somebody could probably program that. But no, when they were showing how to customize weapons, I mean, to make break the weapon out into its various parts, you do this open motion with your hands, and you can swipe in the various parts in and out, and then when you need to bring it back together, you just sweep your hands together. That was gorgeous. That was awesome. That's how it needs to be done.
That was interesting. I just don't feel that's convinced on that one. But why I say convinced is because compare that to say the PC version, which it would be basically very similar. They're trying to make the Kinect better than the what you've got with the PC, and what they were trying with what they used with that one. I don't feel they were really doing it right. This is where I say they didn't work it right because they're trying to do this whole look. Microsoft's Xbox is better than all the other ones, and the whole thing was the consoles, but they really had got to point out how to make themselves look better than the PC, and they set themselves into a position where people are going to go, well, we've got the PC set up.
Well, I'm gonna counterpoint you on that one nicely because I'm gonna disagree with you entirely. In fact, because here's why.
And set my own reality.
When I was watching it for the potential games and what kind of interfaces and whatnot they were going to come out with. So I'm consider me a gaming insider. I know what I'm doing. I like to think I would be a hardcore gamer if I had more time. But
agreed.
But I told my wife, "Hey, Jillian, you're going to be interested in some of the stuff here." I showed it to her, and throughout the entirety of all the stuff that I found super interesting, she was like, "Yeah, that's kind of cool. That's interesting. That's nice." Just sort of doing the nod and smile just to make the person happy. When the stuff that you're about to deride, and we were talking about earlier about like the Sesame Street game, when the family type game stuff came on, where used the very same things that you're talking about are bad things as stuff that doesn't differentiate from the PC, that she was glued to the screen. She wanted to know more. She was sold instantly, and she told me that's going on our wish list as soon as it's available. Because for her, the differentiation between the Xbox and the PC is already made in that the PC is sitting at my desk, under my desk, in fact, with my mouse and keyboard and video monitor hooked up to that PC. But the Xbox is over there. Now, at the entertainment center, hooked up to the TV with a nice big screen where everybody, including our little girl, can see it and play with it. It will be an inclusive family experience. And for the parents of the kids for whom these types of games are being targeted at, that will sell them. Period.
Right.
Which is, I agree. I 100%
agree your argument, and I've come to a conclusion that there are positives and there are negatives, and on the whole, I think it's come up to a nice balance where I'm actually slightly more interested in buying a Kinect than...
Kill the Neutronian!
I'm just trying to be fair here. I mean, all technology does have its problems to start with, and we have to accept that and move forward.
Tell my wife hello. But you know, I was going to say, I 100% agree with your points on that. But the thing is, whether it comes with the grouping, with the group activity, because one of the games which I actually feel was a really good one for the Kinect is actually, and I know some people are going to go, Dance Central 2.
Oh, the dance games are half the reason people buy these things.
Yeah, although they got the wrong people to show it on the thing, but
yeah.
That honestly I feel was getting the right attitude, the right look for it. But the other games, which is the first-person shooter ones, the ones that are doing that sort of console-based thing, I don't feel they were doing it right because they didn't actually. Those games, they were more set up as a single-player experience, and they were the ones that are the type of games that you're going to be there for a long time, standing and things like that. They didn't really make themselves feel like the type of game which you'll want to invest all this time and money, all this time and effort doing a game where you're basically standing there, letting your legs get tired when you can basically sit on your fat ass and just play a game on either with a controller or PC. Those ones, I sort of feel that's where I make my point, where a lot of those games, they didn't really go as well as they could have.
Is there something in the Australian water that makes Australians hate motion control? Because you're kind
Did
of...
I say I hate motion control? I said I like motion control. I just don't feel this is... The ones that they did really are doing a good job for the thing, because here's the thing. Motion control... You got to remember, when it came out, people were like, oh, look, you can do all the fun things. Like, great example, Twilight Princess with Zelda. It's like, oh, this is awesome. You can go and do the sword things. What do people mostly do in the end? They just basically sat there and just sight movements.
Yep. Okay, so just in the interest of fairness of covering all topics, Sony got up and apologized. A lot.
And they did it all 3D.
Yeah. It's like,
don't worry, my beloved PS2, I still love you.
To be fair,
You're
it looked
a good
interesting.
PS2, aren't you? Very good PS2.
One thing that was interesting from the Sony conference is they barely did anything with the Move controllers or the Move systems. Even the big games that are coming out, they're talking about it. They barely even mentioned anything about how you can do this all with the Move. There was going to be Move exclusives, or there was much with it. So people are sort of getting the impression, is Sony trying to distance themselves from Move?
Well,
it could be that
frank... Go on.
I was going to say, it could be that they've come to the conclusion that movement games are going to be a bit passé, that everybody's doing them, so it shouldn't be really a big thing to mention that you are doing them. Sort of an understated, yeah, we're doing movement games, so what, sort of thing.
Yeah, but they were making a huge point to point out that they were doing 3D games. A lot of the games they were pointing out are 3D supportive, so that you can play them if you've got the 3D TVs. For example, the type of TVs that Sony is also making.
Gee, I wonder what they were going for there. Yeah, no, Sony is the elitist jerk of this particular shooting match, and it's been kind of interesting to see them go from the well, you know, to borrow from the title of the show, to go from the new hotness to the old and stodgy, and now Microsoft and Nintendo are taking up the new hotness position, and they're duking it out over who's going to be the new hotness.
Particularly because they're doing the new hotness, but they're also trying to make sure that they're doing it as different to the other one. Because Microsoft is going for more of the visual type of recognition software. You've got the 3D technology it's trying to draw you into the world. Whereas Nintendo's doing is that you've got the controls and devices there, but the world is being drawn towards you. For instance, with the controller, you can actually use that screen on that to look around it, and you can get a 3D environment. You just sort of turn that controller, and you can see the world just being displayed on the controller in real time. Compared to,
Yeah, exactly.
Although the less we say about the Kinect Star Wars game, the better.
The trailer is kick-ass. The interface. I saw the trailer before I actually saw the footage, and then I saw the footage, and I'm all, are they making two different games from two different companies? What's going on here? And then I found out that they were the same game. I'm all, what happened? You have this trailer where not Malcolm Reynolds is kicking ass and taking names next to these two new Jedi that you're all, oh, I want to see more, at least with the hot chick. And then this massive Sith fleet just hyperspaces into their homeworld, and you're like, oh my god, I gotta play this game. And then you see the gameplay footage, you're all, kill the Afterbirth!
So
it seems
no substance then.
Well,
yeah, pretty much.
My view is that they must have been coming up with their idea for the game, and then they spoke to the people behind the Fable series, and it's like, wow, you're doing a Fable game that's entirely on rails? I mean, deliberately on rails? That's awesome! Let's do that!
Well, all I've got to say is, it's like the trailer was the original Star Wars trilogy, and the gameplay is the new Star Wars trilogy.
Yes.
Anybody unfamiliar? So, okay.
Bait and switch.
Yeah, exactly. Let's talk a little bit about even more video gaming news. And this one is a lot of fun, and now everybody can be part.
I was going to. There's quick three ones I was going to say with E3. The big surprises that have come from that. These are not big drawn out ones. The most surprisingly bad game. Jaws 3D for the 3DS. Oh. Yes, they're actually making a new Jaws game. It's basically Jaws is now Captain Planet.
May your powers combined, I am Jaws.
By your powers combined, I am the one who's going to eat you for lunch. You look delicious.
And he's a voodoo shark too. And for anyone that doesn't get it, the whole plot point for how Jaws 4 was meant to work, because people are like, this is a stupid film. How could the shark go from the other side of the Atlantic Ocean down to Bahamas in a few days? It turns out because he's a voodoo shark. No, really, that's what they wrote in, but they never actually discussed it because they thought it was so stupid.
It's magic.
Okay, to wrap this part up, anybody who wants to really know how bad that Jaws movie was, there's a comedy skit by Richard Jenny. Go listen to it. Richard Jenny, Jaws 3D. Really, it's...
No, 4. The fourth Jaws 4.
I thought it was 3D. Whatever. Richard Jenny, Jaws, stupid. Or find some combination thereof to find that clip from his show. Absolutely hilarious and perfectly demonstrating how bad it was. Okay, so
the next one,
the Nostalgia Critic as well. He also
he does these reviews of both of those ones. It's hilarious. The second one I was going to say real quick is that the biggest surprise for game of E3, Prey 2. If you haven't seen the trailer, watch the trailer for it. Because only for one thing, it has Johnny Cash singing. If that alone should make you work.
That's pretty cool. Now I liked the environment of the original Prey game, but I never made it through the first demo, just because I couldn't really get that much into the gameplay. It just seemed kind of samey as any other first-person shooter, despite the fact that they were saying you can do all these things, and I'm all okay. I can walk on the ceiling. Big freaking deal. And now the environment and the story, those were good. I have to admit, so when I told my wife, okay, there's a game demo on the Xbox, you are not to play it. She said, why? I said, because it's very violent. And she said, oh, like throwing somebody through a wood chipper? I said, more like throwing the wood chipper through someone.
Yes. Right. Understood.
For those people interested, the new one basically seems that they've gone from you are in an environment and you're in an unknown environment, there's things that are trying to hunt you. It's taken that and it's now you're actually the hunter. So they fear you. And the gameplay is it's very similar to the first one. You've got the sort of environment, it's got a bit of puzzling type of thing, and it also has a bit of Assassin's Creed type of making sure you can use the environment to your advantage. Hence, in the trailer, you basically see the guy jump off nowhere, lands on a just so happen to be passing bus, and runs off that to get up onto another ledge, takes out a few enemies, and comes up to the big bad guy.
Wow, he must have memorized the bus schedule perfectly then.
Okay, we are,
and their bus schedule actually must be on time.
We are running. Yeah.
Last one, and this is actually going to be interesting for a lot of people. Nintendo is getting rid of the friends codes. They're actually going to have a unified game tag from now on with the Wii U.
Freaking finally, good. You could generate a QR code that was easier to distribute than those freaking friend codes.
Well, for those people who weren't too sure how it works, basically the friend code was you had to speak to the person you knew, get their friend code, they had to get your friend code, you had to share your blood details, your medical history, you had to actually have a full interview with a spy agency from your family to make sure everything was okay, you had to swear your allegiance to one of the dark old ones, and then you had to read War and Peace backwards in 20 seconds.
In French.
Yes.
Is Squato being serious?
That's
hard to tell because I can't tell when he's being sarcastic or not.
It's almost that bad. Okay, so
just slightly not that bad.
Really quick, we cannot spend a whole lot of time on this, which is unfortunate because we have a lot to say about it. Team Fortress 2 is now free on Steam, which is free to be a member of. If you're not on Steam, what's wrong with you?
You meant to say the game. You got the game's name wrong. It's Hattress 2 with extra hats.
So go to download Steam, Mac and PC. Download Team Fortress 2. Start playing. This is the game that Dan Shive likes to play when he's not looking for a story.
Well, it's free to a point. You can go and play it for free, but there's a lot of content if you've got the free version you can't get access to because you've actually got to spend apparently $1, and then you've actually got to spend another additional $5 to actually. You get one. The $1 gets you access to all this other content, and the additional $5 actually releases this content for you.
If I were to go on. If I download Team Fortress 2 on my PC and I hit go, am I able to take my gun and shoot at other people?
Yes, you can go around and run.
Free to play!
But you're only basically getting the basic loadout. You're not getting any of the additional drops. You're not getting any of those other things. Although the funny thing is, as soon as it went free to play, it actually had the game was sort of waning, but it had a huge amount of people going, "Oh, I'm going to play this," to the point that the hat store crashed.
Yeah.
This is the first time it's ever actually happened because, well, no one uses it. And then all the free people are like, oh, I'm on for I get to play this game. Yeah. I get to have hats. And it's the type of hats that everyone that plays the game's like, this is fucking stupid. And the people new to it's like, hats!
I play Wii Rule, My Choice, and Zombie Farm on... Oh, yeah, and Tiny Adventures, I think it's called. Or no, Pocket Legends. Why am I screwing that? Okay. I play Wii Rule... My Choice, Zombie Farm, and Pocket Legends on my iPhone. All 4 of those games have a facility where you can buy stuff in-game. I have not spent a dime on any of them, and I'm at least in the double digits in levels on all 4 of them, if not approaching the level 50 mark. And again, I haven't spent any money on any of them. You can take these free-to-play games and just milk the hell out of the fact that they're free-to-play and still have a great time with them.
Yeah, because Steam's got a whole bunch of free-to-play games on there. Although, to be fair, some of those are failure games, like, for instance, Global Agenda. Or Agent whatever.
And speaking of, my Choice friends list is fairly thin if anybody else plays on iPhone or iPod Touch. I love to have you on my friends list. Moving on...
Well, I was going to say one with a slight rant with Team Fortress 2 going free. I don't mind it going free because that means the game was kind of getting stale. People weren't too interested in it because they got sick of it being pointless updates. But where people sort of getting issue with it is that this is what always happens when the game had free weekends. You suddenly had this huge influx of people into the game, and they're just playing it because it's free. They don't really know anything about it. It's not so much the problem that they don't know it, but they just don't care. It's like, oh look, I'm playing a game. Oh, you fucking losers! I'm being killed. Who's losing, man? And they're just basically ruining the game for a lot of people because they're there and they're not having fun because people are killing them. It's like, people that are playing this game for 3+ years.
It's a bunch of noobs that don't know how to get themselves into a game. When I first started playing Orange Box, it was a good 2 or 3 months after it had been released on the Xbox, and by the time it was released on the Xbox, it was old even for the PC. And I was playing against people who had been playing since the betas. And I was getting my ass handed to me a lot. You keep getting in there, you keep pulling the trigger, eventually you'll get a kill. And once you get one kill, you're going to start mounting up more kills. And you got to have a thick skin because you're going to be called dirty words, you're going to be called a noob, you're going to be told to get off.
Well, the funny thing is the ones that are mostly going with the people themselves, old people can kind of tell too. They've played a little while. They can tell when someone's new, and the ones that are going with oh, look at these noobs, they're failing. It's playing such a bad game. Yeah, the ones that are doing that are actually noobs, and they're the ones that are ruining it for everyone else because they're making the new players think, oh, this is such a bad game. Oh, look, this is such horrible people playing this game, and the whole people are like, no, it's a good game. It's just these new players that they suck at it, and they're trying to the reason why they suck is because you suck and you're drawing them down.
Okay.
When they're not interested in playing.
Here's the appropriate attitude towards any game that you're experienced at that you get a bunch of noobs. Fresh meat. Okay, let's move on.
I did want to say something myself about it. I mean, I did download the game myself only yesterday, and the only complaint I have about it so far is it looks like my character's taking LSD. It's really psychedelic and doesn't quite make much sense when I look at things. I think I might have a slight problem with the graphics card on my computer then.
Very, very likely, yes. Okay,
but yeah, it's a good game. Play it.
Just a little bit of a pause here as I basically do my poor job of begging for money. If anybody is interested... Yes, if anybody is interested in supporting the Bunnycast network, which is providing for you quality entertainment products such as this, as well as a couple other fantastic shows, such as the freshly launched From the Left and the Right, featuring myself and my mom, please do send a donation. You can send any monetary amount that you want, but send it to bunnycast@gmail.com through PayPal specifically at this time, please. We are working on improving our interface so that you'll be able to go to our webpage and click a link. And I am also working on other payment options. At the moment, though, definitely we're going to go with the PayPal. Again, that's bunnycast@gmail.com. And
we would prefer actual legal tender as opposed to monopoly money or anything you get from Second Life.
Yeah, exactly.
To be fair, for anyone that sort of wants to get an idea of how to picture Homer with his sort of begging look, just think of him as a Vulcan that's basically that's despairs, that looks very depressed and unhappy, with a sign saying "Planet destroyed, need money to fight Romulans." Someone seriously needs to do that at some stage.
Okay. Let's just continue the video gaming meme by Squato. I want you to tell us about your review, and do try to keep it at least a little bit short. We are running very long.
Yeah, I'm going to do it. Going to keep it short because my review is not going to take 15 years. And for those people who aren't too sure, I'm reviewing Duke Nukem Forever.
Yes, it took that long for it to come out.
Hail to the king, baby.
Actually, the best new line that he has in it, and yes, there's a lot of lines. Some people have mixed with it, with some of the things. There is actual old school references. One of the old school references is he actually says, "I'll buy that for $1," which he said that in the previous games, but so many people don't get it. Another one they don't get is when he's killing the aliens, because the general plot, the basic version of the plot is that the aliens come back to Earth after 12 years, because apparently it's set. The original one was set in 1996. This is now 2008. Aliens came back, and he's now a big casino owner in Las Vegas. He has his own Duke Burger, and they go around and invade the place. He then goes underground to get his babes back, and that's kind of the most disturbing level in the game. And then goes and destroys Hoover Dam when the aliens kill the president, because the president is a douchebag. Honestly, that is really the plot. You don't really need to bother with the plot. But his best, the line that came from that, and as people so many didn't get, is, "I'm from Las Vegas, and I say, kill them all!" If you don't get it, you fail at pop culture. That's from Stormtroopers. I'm from Buenos Aires, and I say, kill them all! There you go. And the other one...
Troopers, you mean, not Stormtroopers.
Why did I know what you were talking about? That's almost disturbing. Anyways, I have the following to say about this whole Duke Nukem Forever thing. First off, I'm glad that they finally released it, so the entire industry can finally stop saying, it's just like Duke Nukem Forever. Because now it's out, and now you can all shut up. Second,
now the whole Duke Nukem Forever is it's like Duke Nukem Forever, a game that the people were interested, and it sucked.
Number two, I haven't played it, so I don't know what the gameplay is like. But in terms of the story content, the misogyny, the general overall nastiness, anybody who doesn't remember that's what Duke Nukem, what was it, Gold was like, is a tool. This is what Duke Nukem is all about. The previous Duke Nukem entry, sure, it revolutionized with explorable levels and all this kind of thing, but it made its name by Duke being a general ass, a misogynistic, white trash, muscle-bound, thick-headed idiot who went around killing aliens and getting really popular for it, and he swore like worse than a freaking sailor.
Steven Seagal.
Yeah, exactly.
Sorry, I don't know why I said that.
Now,
my mind makes some weird connections sometimes.
In the previous game, made back in the day when you were using sprites overlaid on top of a 3D object, it was... okay, the disconnect happened where you knew this was just a stupid-ass parody shoot-'em-up game that happened to have particularly good gameplay, was when you walk into a bar and there's strippers. And if you happen to have the adult setting set on, I am an adult, I'm okay with certain things, they were damn near nude, if not, topless. And when you were facing the strippers, instead of having your gun, you had a wad of bills, and you could throw the bills at the strippers. This is in the middle of a freaking alien invasion, people!
New one doesn't have the bills, but you do have topless babes, and there is no setting if you want to go adult or if you want to go for the lower rating. It's straight up. This just the adult rating.
Yeah, this should tell you what kind of content to expect with any title that has Duke Nukem. And really, anybody who doesn't expect that, they're morons. And I hear this from the entire industry. All these people that used to play the game back in the day and they loved it and they were really looking forward to something actually really, really, really good. And then they come out and say, this is
groundbreaking.
This is the most horrible example of misogynistic, anti-girl behavior, blah, 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 waving my arms. I'm having conniptions. Rabble, 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 rabble.
Rabble, rabble.
It's like, at what point did you not think this was going to be a Duke Nukem game? I don't care if you're a parent of a 3-year-old at this point. I don't care if you're saving up money to buy your kids or get your kids into college. I don't care if you're now the CEO of your own company and you have an image to protect. The fact is that you used to play a game that was full of misogynistic, sexist crap with foul language up the ass, and now you're expecting something different just because it's 15 years later? You're a moron! They went with what made the original Duke Nukem work, what made the original Duke Nukem sell, and now you're criticizing them for it? Stop it. Just shut up and get off the stage.
Well said.
I haven't played it. I don't know what the new Duke Nukem gameplay is actually like. I'm thinking of downloading the demo, but I don't want my wife going through the roof.
The demo, it's the demo that they released is actually the one that they did about 6 months ago, and it was actually it was an earlier build of the game, so it's not as good as what you ultimately do get.
Fair enough. Okay, so that's what I have to say about it, and Squato, I'll let you finish your review. I'm sorry.
Okay, something I should point out is the game I played is actually the PC version, which is, if you're going to play it, get the PC version. Don't play the console versions at all. Well, I say that because the average rating for the PC version works out to be about 6 to 7 or so. It is an average game, but it's fun, an average game. But if you get the Xbox version, the 360 version works out to be about a 4, if not lower, and the PS3 version comes out about 4.5. So just get the PC version straight up. Disregard the others.
Fair enough. Thank you.
That's your first thing. As to what it does right, it does a lot. The very first thing I can say to you is it's fun. It is actually fun.
Well, there you go.
It is a little bit weird because the fact that he's running around, he has a 2-weapon limit. It's got a health bar, although they do have some fun with it by calling it an ego bar because it's Duke. But you do have things. You can even come in and just sort of fart ass around. In fact, that's one of the few things. When I came into the level where you get to the the titty bar.
Get to the fuck.
Yeah.
Actually, it does happen too.
Oh, good lord.
Although the only time,
I was only joking.
It's strongly implied. Although when it comes up to it, the only time he actually does get any action is when a guy gives him resuscitates Duke Nukem. Yes, that happens.
Creepy that you're describing that as action.
I'm stepping away.
The Australian.
Because the level where they come in with the titty bar, it's actually a very subtle Inception reference. And yes, the hint that you get that it's an Inception reference is you've got to go to this section up the top, and if you look down, there's a spinning top which doesn't fall over.
Nice. Okay.
There is that, but there is, and it's the most pointless level, but it's also the one I actually sort of found I was having fun because it's in the titty bar, you have drinking things, and it's weird that Duke Nukem can get drunk and wasted off one beer, but but they do have mini games there, which is you can go in, you've got this poker machines, you do have a pool table. Mechanics of the game of that are a bit iffy, but you also have a whack-em game, you have a few other little bunch of games in there, and they do get it. You kind of do end up having fun. Yeah, the mechanics could have been done a lot better, but yeah, you end up as I said, having fun with those sections.
Great. Seriously. So, I mean, that's the kind of thing you expect to hear from a game. Is it fun? So.
Where it's not so good is, the graphics can be a bit mixy. Some of the level designs are a bit weird. There's a lot of things that sort of... It feels more like a game which took 2 years to make than the previous 13, because Gearbox and the ones that were really doing it, they kind of did...
What we now know of as Duke Nukem Forever did only take 2 years to develop. Because all the freaking previous incarnations, they said, oh, we're only 2 months away, and then they scrap it. Oh, we're only 2 months away, and then they scrap it. Oh, we're only 2 months away, we mean it, and then they scrap it.
Yeah, well, when you actually do finish the game, they give you this whole bunch of bonus content. They actually show you... One of the funniest things is you get a Duke Nukem soundboard, and he comes up, and all the lines are brought back in there, including one of the classic ones, which is... what's he say? I'm here to kick ass and chew bubblegum. And I'm all out of bubblegum. No, he says that, and the other one, which is, I'm here to kick ass and chew bubblegum, and I'm all out of ass.
Okay,
he says that. But yeah, basically, It's well worth playing. Give it it's wait for it to drop if you want. I do say it's fun. It's not the best game, but it's entertaining, and it's cheesy. There's a lot of things they could have done better. The enemy AI is a bit stupid. There is a lot of stupid pop-ups. Level design is a bit iffy.
Okay.
You do get annoyed with a lot of sections, but it takes about 12 to 15 hours.
I'll have to break up the duck gun now.
Yeah. Don't make me use the anti-squatter device.
I wanted to make the point about the length because there's so many games released nowadays where the entire single-player component can be done in 3 hours or less. Okay. So it's a bit different to get a game which takes 12 to 15 hours.
That's good. Professor!
Okay! On to my review then.
Yes.
Be grateful that I won't go on quite as long about it as our colleague here has on his one. I am reviewing the series Dragon Master by Chris Bunch, which is a series of books about a character who has gotten into a war and now has got to fly dragons during a war, which is it's a good little concept. I like the fact that it's got that whole, yes, you're going into a war and he's a soldier and he has to learn how to be a soldier and how to fly a dragon at the same time. And it's a bit like Pern, but not quite. It's much more gritty and a sort of more realistic sort of dragon, if you understand what I mean. And the book that I've got is actually the omnibus version of it, with the 3 different books in the series put together into one book, and it makes for an interesting read going through it. Anyway, I suggest that people go away and read that book, enjoy reading it, and have fun reading.
Read it. In other words, read it, or a slightly creepy English person will be at your door.
Well, I wouldn't say slightly creepy. I would mean devilishly, devilishly, that's it.
Devilishly creepy?
Devilishly handsome, that's what I was going to say.
Okay.
Quite debonair as well.
Aha.
Curse my speaking impediment.
Okay.
That's the impediment of me speaking.
I'm going to go ahead and start my review then. I am going to actually be reviewing a fanfic, and yes, I threatened that it would happen, and that day has arrived. I'm going to be reviewing a Dr. Hooves fanfic. Now, for those of you who don't remember from our previous podcast episode, Dr. Hooves is a very clever and amusing fan combination of My Little Pony and Doctor Who. There have been several fantastic entries. I'm going to review 2, not today, but today I'm going to review 1, and next recording I'm going to review another. The one I'm reviewing today is entitled Time Lords in Terror, and its sequel, The Mines of Dragon Mountain, both written by the same author. This is one of those fanfics that very quickly becomes sort of fan canon. Fanon, yes.
Yes.
Basically, if it becomes so popular amongst the fan community that if, like, let's pretend that the My Little Pony Friendship is Magic production team were to somehow magically get the rights to do a Doctor Who's spin-off series. This is how
that would be awesome.
That would be triple awesome.
Could have been worse. They could have merged it with Star Trek like they almost did.
I don't want to know.
Star Trek Enterprise, there was going to be, if they had had a 5th season, apparently they were going to do an episode where Dr. Tennant was going to actually cross over with and go on to the Starship Enterprise and meet up with Princess Archer.
I see.
The only thing that stopped that was this Enterprise got cancelled.
And the whole universe sighed in relief.
God! Anyways. All right. So this particular, all right. I won't do too much introduction because the Time Lords in Terror does a decent introduction of the Doctor into the My Little Pony universe. So everybody just skip ahead in your brains. Doctor Who is part of the My Little Pony universe now. Let's continue. In this particular,
I'm a pony. Ponies are cool.
I'm kind of curious what the orbital mix-up theme between Doctor Who and My Little Ponies would be then, because the best cover version of Doctor Who's theme has got to be from Orbital, particularly because the Glastonbury Festival in 2010 actually had Matt Smith there performing the drum section.
Really? Nice.
Yes. Search on YouTube, Doctor Who performing at Glastonbury. They actually get Matt Smith comes out. He fucking loved it because he got to play his theme.
That's awesome. Okay, so Time Lords and Terror. It's your classic Doctor Who story. I believe this one has the Daleks and the Cybermen. A lot of first entries for a lot.
Is it Cyber Ponies?
No. In this one, it's genuinely Cybermen. Okay, I'm not going to go into the fanon at this point. I'm just going to say a lot of first entries for a lot of the Doctor Who's stuff were Doctor Who is now in My Little Pony universe. Look, it's the Daleks and the Cybermen and this, that, and the other. A couple did really original. One did Weeping Angels, or now Weeping Pegasi. Clever. Anyways, in this one, it's Daleks and Cybermen. So, moving on.
So it's a war between the two of them. You know what? That kind of sounds a little bit like the Doctor Who anime, which it was a thing that this guy worked for apparently 8 years about to do this anime version of the Fourth Doctor, and he went really great into detail with it. It was only up there for 3 days, and then apparently got pulled. No one knows who pulled it.
Nice.
But it's off YouTube. But if you search on Google, you will get a lot of discussions about this and people saying, this is awesome.
So,
because that one even threw in the Master. So I'm kind of interested to see if they actually have a Pony Master. Do they?
In this one, I don't think so. The problem is you read enough Doctor Who's and they start to blend together, and so I'm trying to remember.
Master, fail.
Oh, does this one have the Master? I know there's another one that has the Master.
I don't think the one you were referencing does.
Okay. Maybe I'll get to that one later on. Anyways, The Mines of Dragon Mountain, the sequel to Time Lords and Terror, again, same author, same universe, same crew. This one takes place at a new location in Equestria, featuring a new character that has a walk-on in Time Lords and Terror. It's so far really good. You get this idea that there is a lot of backstory that they are revealing just ever so slowly, just like a Doctor Who miniseries. It's
like one of their current seasons.
Yeah, exactly. And it does that thing that any Doctor Who fan will recognize, where you're getting into it, you're drawn in, you're at the edge of your seat, you're hunched over, you're waiting for what happens next, and then to be continued. No! What?
So it's going to be a good pony goes to war. And whatever the Hitler version of pony, the pony Hitler version would be.
So it's definitely very, very good. I highly suggest you pick this one up. If you're not familiar enough with Doctor Who or My Little Pony, you might want to brush up a little. My Little Pony available on YouTube, Doctor Who available on Netflix, etc. But really, really a quality fanfic, definitely well written. I can see great things for this person if they decide to pursue writing as a career. For those who want to know how to get to the fanfic, you can find the links to all the available chapters at http://goo.gl/bm4S1. And yes, that is a shortened URL. I'm not going to try reading the whole thing.
Mm-hmm.
Huzzah!
Only thing I was going to say on this side, and that is the only issue. I will say this as a side. That's I know some people that are, and this is why I generally don't bother with the ponies community, is just because there is honestly some people that really do weed me out and freak me out, and that's because I know some people, they look at that and they're like, oh, that's so bad for, they're getting the whole My Little Ponies wrong. They're doing like, say, mashing it up with 300 trailer, so you're getting the audio for that being put onto the thing there. You're getting things like Ponies the Anthology. Watch that. That is fucking hilarious. And you're getting...
It is.
Indeed.
And then you're getting all these other ones that are saying this is wrong because it's saying that the My Little Pony world, it's violent, it's things like that. And then these same people that are doing that, what are they doing? Well, basically they're getting with My Little Pony with sex. And it's like, no. This is getting disturbing. No.
I've read a clout fic or two in my time, and while there's the occasional one that's worth reading, most of them are like,
And it's worse, all the fan art for that. And like, I know you Rule 34 is there for a reason, but really? No. And it's funny because they're
just because Rule 34 is there does not mean you have to abide by it.
Yes, and it's particularly funny because these are the ones that are saying that it's all the violent stuff that they have there is wrong because this is a children's show, and then they're doing the Rule 34 stuff. It's like, oh.
Let's
give me Terminator Pony. That one's good. Don't give me two ponies in a cup.
Oh, you had to go there. Oh, okay.
Excuse me for a second whilst I go and get the mind bleach.
All right, so just to remind everybody exactly what we've talked about, we introduced some newbies into the forums. We talked about the comic and how it's confusing. We covered a little bit of news about gay marriage, a few things from Squato, including a TV host that doesn't know when to shut the hell up, and the confusion of a particular British member of our current cast who doesn't know the difference between angels and devils.
In my defence, it's very hard to get any Australian to shut up.
We talked about E3 and the many varied and sundry things there. We ranted about Team Fortress 2 and quite a bit about Duke Nukem, more than we expected to. We talked about the book Dragon Master and how everybody needs to raid. And we talked about a fan fiction.
Read a book, read a motherfucking book.
It's not clout fic, it's not nasty, and it's fairly well written, so go read it. To contact the Bunnycast, you can reach us generally at community.910cmx.com, also the forums on chastrix.com/bunnycast, and you can always email us at bunnycast@gmail.com. Let's talk about our hosts. I'm Dame Helen, the LeatherClad. My current project is I'm starting a new computer business. I'm going to reveal more details later, but if you want to see what's going on as it progresses, go to nakedcomputers.biz.
I'm instantly interested.
And that's why I picked the name.
Why do I see the image of someone that's standing behind a computer monitor or some computer peripherals and just an ever so slightly seductive pose?
I might have to go with that. You can find more information about me by going to, about.me/HomerNet. Squato, project, quick.
Still looking for job.
Okay.
Anything else? Secret!
Professor, project.
I'm running several experiments on the viscosity of orange juice.
Okay.
And trying to see what he can do with baboon hearts. Kill me. Maybe later.
Later.
Squato. Can be reached anywhere online that you happen to track him down. The professor can be reached via Killerfish, wherever you happen to track him down, but usually on DeviantArt. El Shive can be found at EGScomics.com, and Dan the Shive can be reached at twitter.com/DanTheShive. And we're saying goodbye!
Farewell.
Good morning.
Sugar high!
Don't worry, I've got
We didn't talk.
insulin right.
It's a crazy world.
This might hurt just a
turn
small
of reality, it's you and me. And I need you here to keep some sanity. We are but pawns in a faded game of cat and mouse. Maybe a couple of squirrels thrown out here and there. It's a crazy world, it's twisted all up in my hair. I got you, I don't care. Sometimes I feel like I'm controlled like a hero in a comic book, baby. Chasing one day after the next. No settle down, no easy text, baby. But it makes me feel alive when you're here by my side.
The Bunnycast is a production of the Bunnycast Network. The opinions of the guests and hosts are their own and do not necessarily reflect those of the network. Crazy World is a production of Seth Jeffrey and is used without permission. Winter Wrap-Up Rock Cover is performed by UMan1996 on YouTube and has been used without permission.
Maybe a couple of headshots thrown out here and there. This crazy world is all messed up, all in my hair. I got you, I don't care. But now all that I want is just to be your man. It's a crazy world, in a twisted turn of reality. It's you and me, and I need you here to keep some sanity. We are but pawns in a faded game of cat and mouse. Maybe a couple of guinea pigs thrown out here and there. This crazy world is all messed up in my head. I got you, I don't care.